It was more than just a concert. It was a cultural wave crashing into Europe. As the Grand National Tour made its highly anticipated overseas debut, Kendrick Lamar and SZA brought their signature fusion of artistry, vulnerability, and spectacle to Cologne, Germany, and the reception was nothing short of thunderous. Fans line up outside RheinEnergieStadion hours before doors open, their voices rising in a polyglot chorus of anticipation: German, English, French, Polish, Arabic, Spanish. By the time the sun dips behind the stadium's towering floodlights, the heat has settled into the concrete and won't let go. But no one seems to mind. They're here for Kendrick Lamar and SZA, and on this night, nothing else exists. Welcome to celebrity rap life, where the red carpets never roll up and the spotlight never fades. The rewards are legendary. Because in celebrity rap life, every downfall can become a comeback, and every headline tells a deeper story. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a second of what's coming next. Just over 2 weeks earlier, Kendrick and SZA brought down the house at Northwest Stadium in Landover, Maryland, closing out the North American leg of their Grand National Tour with that familiar sense of triumph mixed with a hint of bittersweet farewell. That finale felt monumental. 51 songs, 2 voices weaving through eras and emotions, a testament to careers built on vulnerability and vision. Yet the duo knew that their story wasn't done. If anything, it was just beginning. Europe had been calling. Now, Cologne was answering. The checklist for a successful overseas stop is long. Cultural differences, travel logistics, local promotion, equipment transport, language barriers. But when the tour staff rolled into Cologne for the first sound checks and stage rehearsals, there was no doubt that this crowd would be ready. Word had spread across social media, fueled by clips from previous shows. Kendrick's razor-sharp delivery, SZA's ethereal vocals, the chemistry between them that turns every chorus into a collective exhale. By the time doors opened on June 2nd, the stadium had already become a living organism. Merchandise booths sold out of vinyl sets and t-shirts within the first hour. Pop-up food stalls catered to local tastes, a currywurst stand next to vegan falafel, beer gardens offering Kolsch alongside bottled water. Everywhere you looked, fans were exchanging stories of past concerts, sharing the songs they hoped would make the setlist, arguing good-naturedly about who would open the show. Was it Kendrick's whacked out murals or SZA's SOS? At 7:30 p.m., lights dimmed across the venue. A hush fell over the crowd, an expectant pause like the held breath before a thunderclap. Then, the opening chords of whacked out murals rippled through the stadium's acoustic network. Kendrick stepped into the glow of the central stage, his silhouette defined by a single spotlight. The audience surged forward, a mass of bodies leaning in, hungry for every syllable. Kendrick's voice cut through the air with surgical precision. He moved deliberately, each gesture calibrated to the beat, each glance directed at a different section of the arena. Fans in the front row strained to meet his eyes. Those further back held up phones, but even on screens he seemed larger than life. In that moment, language barriers vanished. German fans who'd spent their afternoon sipping Apfelschorle were now singing back lines originally penned in Compton. The crowd's pronunciation was different, their accents softened, but the passion was unmistakably the same. Behind him, the stage's massive LED screens flickered images of urban landscapes, graffiti-tagged walls, sprawling freeways, close-ups of Lamar's childhood neighborhood. The visuals threaded together a narrative of origin and evolution, reminding everyone why these songs matter in the first place. This wasn't just entertainment, it was cultural exchange. When the last notes of whacked out murals faded, Kendrick turned to introduce the next track with a simple question. Cologne, you ready? The roar that followed answered more than readiness. It was a declaration. They were here. They had come. They were hungry for every word. And then SZA appeared. Her entrance was a study in contrast. While Kendrick prowled the stage with controlled intensity, SZA floated in on a wave of pastel lights, her silhouette softened by smoke machines turning the air into a low-hanging cloud. She opened with SOS, voice crystalline yet throbbing with emotion. The crowd quieted in reverence, as if reminded that vulnerability could be the strongest force of all. The first duet of the night came on All the Stars, their harmonies intertwining above a thundering beat. For a moment, they stood on separate platforms, united only by their voices, the music bridging the distance between them. The audience erupted, jumping in unison, cell phones raised like luminaires. The phrase "all the stars" reverberated not just in the speakers, but in every spine, every nerve ending, as if the collective heartbeat of the stadium had synchronized to the rhythm. From there, the set list carved a path through their shared history, the defiance of DNA, the swagger of X, the quiet introspection of Pride. Each song felt like a chapter in a sprawling novel, the characters played by fans who knew the words by heart. When Kendrick reached for Humble, the effect was seismic. Pit walls trembled. Security rails bent under the force of bodies surging forward. It was a reminder that some songs aren't just heard, they're felt. But the real magic happened in the middle third of the set, during the slower, more experimental cuts. Here, SZA's voice took center stage on tracks like Broken Clocks and 20-something, her lyrics of longing and self-discovery resonating through the vast open-air bowl of the stadium. Fans swayed, lit by the glow of phone flashlights, voices hushed but fervent. It was a communal confession. We've all loved and lost, we've all searched for meaning, we've all been 20-something. Kendrick joined her on All Came Back, their lines reflecting on fate and forgiveness, the past and what's yet to come. The visuals shifted to show footage of SZA in small club shows, lamplight on her face, intercut with shots of Lamar performing at sold-out arenas around the world. It was a tapestry of growth, two artists who began in intimate venues now standing before tens of thousands, the world watching. The energy rose again when DJ Mustard took over for a brief interlude. His set was lean, tight, pulsing with West Coast swagger, and homage to the roots while propelling the night forward. Fans pressed closer to the stage, dancing in small clusters, their voices merging in chants that became another instrument in the mix. Cologne was no longer an audience, it was a collaborator, adding its unique timbre to the Grand National Tour soundtrack. Back on stage, Kendrick pulled out surprise tracks, deep cuts like Untitled 02 and Lust. The German crowd, far from passive, shouted every line back at him, their accents dancing around the syllables like foreign birds mimicking a melody. It was proof that hip-hop has become a global language, capable of crossing oceans and borders with a beat and a story. Then came the crescendo, a seismic rendition of Not Like Us. The moment Kendrick delivered the taunt about They Not Like Us, the stadium became a single roaring entity. Flags waved, some German, some Algerian, some Palestinian, each representing a diaspora drawn together by music. This wasn't just a performance, it was a statement, a shared understanding that art can be both personal and universal. SZA returned for 30 for 30, and All the Stars Encore, their synergy on full display. 30 for 30 became a playground of playful shade, fans cheering every jab. When Kendrick rapped, UFN with niggas that think they cuter than you. Oh, the crowd howled, the simplicity of the phrase exploding with joyous camaraderie. It was a reminder that even the most pointed bars can bring people together. As the night wound down, they closed with Gloria, the collaborative track from Kendrick's latest album, a fitting capstone. The word Gloria flashed across the screens in triumphant gold letters, and the fans responded with conviction, their voices carrying across the stadium like a hymn. For a moment, it felt like a collective exhale, a release of tension, of heat, of months of touring distilled into one final crescendo. When the last notes faded, Kendrick looked out at the sea of faces, sweat glistening on his brow. He raised his fist, nodded once, and mouthed, Danke, the German word for thank you. SZA joined him, hand in hand, waves of appreciation passing between them and the crowd. There were no scripted goodbyes, no robotic set-ending banter. Just genuine gratitude. Outside RheinEnergieStadion, fans lingered in the plaza, reluctant to let go of the night's high. Conversations buzzed in multiple languages, fans swapping videos and anecdotes. Did you see her face when I still can't believe she hit that note. This crowd is the loudest I've ever heard. Local radio stations replayed clips, and hashtags began trending before midnight. In just one evening, Cologne had stamped its mark on the Grand National Tour. For Kendrick Lamar and SZA, this was more than a successful overseas debut. It was proof that their art, rooted in specific experiences, Californian in one case and Louisiana in the other, has become a global movement. These songs, born in bedrooms and small clubs, have grown into anthems sung back by fans around the world, each adding their own inflection and emotion. The numbers tell part of the story. $256.4 million grossed across North America, the most successful co-headlining tour ever. Projected to reach $400 million by tour's end. Sellout crowds in cities from Landover to Los Angeles, now Cologne and soon Frankfurt, Amsterdam, Paris. But the real measure is in moments like this, when a German stadium becomes a cathedral of shared passion, when strangers become a choir, when a lyric penned in one city resonates in another half a world away. Kendrick and SZA will carry this energy forward through the European dates, Frankfurt on July 4th and 5th, then on to Barcelona, Milan, London, Stockholm. Each stop promises its own flavor, its own crowd, its own late-night stories. Then, in late September, Kendrick returns with his solo Latin American and Australian dates, this time joined by Argentine duo CA7 Riel and Paco Amoroso as openers. SZA will hold down the home front, her voice still echoing across Europe as she prepares her own next chapter. But for now, Cologne stands as the proof of concept. The Grand National Tour isn't just a North American phenomenon. It's a global declaration. 2 voices, 2 visions, 1 movement, bringing people together in heat and noise, in sweat and song, in shared humanity. As the tour marches on, one thing remains certain. Wherever Kendrick Lamar and SZA step next, they'll find fans ready to meet them, voices raised in their own languages, carrying forward the stories and emotions that first gave these songs life. And in those moments, when the beat drops and the crowd roars, borders will blur, and everyone will know they're part of something bigger than a concert. They'll know they're part of history in the making. This story is far from over, and the truth is still unfolding. I want to hear what you think. Drop your take in the comments. And if you don't want to miss the next twist, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a second of what's coming next.